Hola friends, I wanted to make a video about the current state of AutoGPT from a consumer and developer standpoint and go over their strengths and challenges. I've been using AutoGPT and contributing to the codebase the last few weeks, so I think I have a fair take and can provide realistic expectations so people don't leave disappointed. So let's start off with the consumer strengths. First of all, it's open source. In general, open source is better for privacy and security. Allows the community to see how the sauce is made, which is important for these types of tools. You can run AutoGPT locally. It allows you to write to files, read from files on your local workspace. Allows you to run commands on your machine, which means you can install things or run things at your own risk. And it even allows for fine-tuning. Even if you do have to edit a config file, it still lets you do that. Another strength is the support. Their Discord is very responsive. They have a tech support channel where community members have certain roles, like supporter roles, and they're very responsive. I'd say challenges from a consumer standpoint, it requires GitHub knowledge, which already is a website built for developers. It requires knowledge of the CLI, the command line interface. I know there's an official GUI coming, but it doesn't seem to be top priority. There are third-party UIs. I haven't tested them, but they exist. Let me know what you think, but I'm personally just going to wait for the official one. Installation will be confusing if you're not used to tools like Docker and using the command line. Getting this to work will require editing files inside of the repo once you download the source. That can be a little scary. I'm not saying you won't be able to set it up if you aren't a developer. I'm just saying that it's going to be very painful, especially if you don't know any of those words mean. Another challenge is that this was built with the API 4.0 key in mind, and most people, including myself, only have access to the 3.5 key, and this greatly degrades user experience. And the difference between 3.5 and 4.0 is 3.5 is simply too dumb to function and it'll get stuck, whereas 4.0 key will snap out of it or avoid getting stuck. And anyone coming to AutoGPT expecting an ChatGPT or Agent GPT experience is probably going to be disappointed. Now let's look at this from a dev standpoint, starting off with the challenges. So it sounds like there's a significant refactor going on, which in my opinion is always dangerous, especially when you have momentum or you need it. And to be fair, they've been pretty open about the state of the refactor. I personally just haven't dug into it. It's kind of over my head, but it sounds like when I did ask about it, it was significant. And about every week or two, they'll post an update, and I think they've been at this for about a month, and I believe they'll post a status update soon. But the point is that the refactor is not an insignificant one. Another challenge they face is that the first and third party plugins are filled with less than mediocre plugins. They only have a handful of first party plugins, which I believe means that they actually had the team or someone on the team go in and maybe code review and verify there is no funny business going on. But again, compared to ChatGPT, where they have like 70 plus whatever plugins right out the gate, it's a little underwhelming. Here's a directory of plugins that a user made. This is probably a good start if you want to see which plugins are actually worthwhile, which ones have the most activity, getting the most updates. Personally, I think this is just how it goes with open source, especially a tool as popular as this one. People want to be first to the races. So I think over time this will shake out. The reason I bring it up is because it can lead to a poor user experience. Also, a reminder that beware of third-party plugins. Read the source code. If you don't know what you're installing, don't install it. Another challenge they face is they have a huge list of issues and pulls in their repo. It's pretty chaotic. there's times someone will say they worked on something but someone else did, and some work gets wasted. I personally think, again, it's due to the nature of the project, its popularity. Everyone's trying to get in on it. Now I'd like to move to the strengths from a developer standpoint. Open source. Again, they have almost 300 contributors. Even some of my stuff has made it into the repo. It's pretty crazy to see how much work can actually get done when you have so many people that want to contribute to the project. Another strength is their talented team. 4 of the maintainers just recently won a hackathon, the Palo Alto hackathon, for it's called the Next Gen Hackathon 2023, where you're supposed to build a product that uses generative AI, and they built a tool using AutoGPT called AI Maintainer, which does automatic code reviews. So to me, that's pretty cool. You can tell the team is passionate and they're talented. Another strength is creating plugins is easy and friendly. They even have a plugin template repo that you can just go and clone, and you're off to the races. I personally haven't done it yet, but I'm looking into making one. But from what I could tell, there's such a surge of plugins. That's usually a sign that they're easy to make. Not to get mixed up with a weakness, but they introduced something called challenges. And what's cool about challenges is essentially you create a challenge that the AI has to achieve. For example, there's a web navigation challenge where AutoGPT should be able to navigate a website, enter text, and submit forms. There's a psychological challenge called Sally and Ann's test. I won't get into it because I don't fully understand it, but the idea is it's like a word problem, and the AI should be able to infer something about a character in the test. This is pretty creative, especially from someone who's focused on automation and testing. Essentially, these challenges make it so your underlying code can change, but as long as it completes the challenge, then it honestly doesn't matter what the underlying code is. It also gamifies improving the bot, as currently there are challenges out there that haven't been met, and so the idea is that they're failing the challenge, and if you submit changes that make the bot better, that can complete it, then you have proven that you beat the challenge, and then there becomes a new one. Again, to me, this is very creative to essentially gamify your testing framework, and really clever. Another thing I like is that they're aiming for weekly releases. I won't go into details about that, but it's always, the more often you could deploy your code, the better it is for everyone, less surprises. So that leads to, okay, so who is AutoGPT currently for? In my opinion, it's for developers looking to contribute to the AutoGPT repo itself, or you want to create an AutoGPT plugin. Maybe you're a developer looking to incorporate AutoGPT into your product, aka Agent GPT. I'd also say this is for anyone curious enough to try and get this running locally with minor CLI and developer experience. Just understand that you will most likely run into pain. Even I did, because of how new this tool is. It's currently only on like 0.3.2 or something like that. So honestly, it might not be worth it if there's a great user experience around the corner. But regardless of all those negatives, from a software engineer who's focused on automation for the greater part of my career, I'm excited about this software. Even with the mistakes it makes, it shows a glimpse of what it can do, and it's only going to get better. Don't let the hype of it built a whole website, all you guys are doomed. Don't let that trick you. Those things are possible, but just not realistic. From consumer standpoint, it's rough around the edges, but from a developer standpoint, it's exciting as hell. Thanks for sticking around, everybody. I appreciate any view I can get. I'll be streaming soon with more projects that aren't just AutoGPT related. So make sure to hit that sub button, or else your wife's boyfriend is going to find out about your girlfriend.